What's going on, Deep Thread Sports Network? It's the NFL podcast back here with you for our Week 15 show. I got Logan here with me, and Bryant. Excited to bring you the games that are played this week. Um, Logan, what do you got? Anything?
Nothing new. Glad to be back. Hex
Yeah,
off and
took some time off for the holidays with Thanksgiving. Had some pretty big games with college, so we were focusing a lot on that and college basketball starting up. But we're back. Logan, what was a game that surprised you last week?
I had to go with the Chiefs getting lucky again this week. I mean, I feel like it's every week we kind of make the on the Chiefs with the last snap for the goal kick to win it, and it's nothing again this week. I mean, they get another lucky field goal that literally bounced off the goalpost and went in. I couldn't have hoped any more than anybody else. That would have been no good. But yeah, just again the Chiefs lucking out and making stuff at the end.
Yeah, they got to find a way to fix their offensive line issues. Um, Patrick Mahomes has no time to throw, and it's reflecting in his bad play. Um, but good teams find ways to win, and I think they found about 7 or 8 different ways to win games they probably should have lost. So
Yeah.
we'll see if they can keep that rolling. I'm actually going to go with the Rams. They had a shootout game with the Bills. Josh Allen had 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns, and the Rams still held them off. Puka Nakua had a huge game. Cooper Kupp as well. Matt Stafford was control of that offense, and Kyler Williams got back on track. So crazy good game for the Rams. The AFC West is definitely, I think, probably theirs to lose. We'll see. It's still pretty tight, but that was a very impressive win. So that was my game that surprised me from Week 14. Um, Moving on here, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. News and notes. Not really any major injuries that we didn't report on last week or the weeks before. A lot of the news right now is talking about who's going to be in playoffs and where and what seeds. But a lot of that's still to be determined. So not a whole lot on the news and notes standpoint. So we're going to dive straight into the games we have here for Week 15. Full slate of games. There are no more bye weeks. Week 14 was our last week with teams on bye, so we got the full 32 teams running this week here in the NFL. So our first game is Rams at 49ers. Speaking of the NFC West, on Thursday, Prime Video at 7:15. San Francisco is a 2-point favorite at home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how honestly you give the 49ers to be a favorite in this game right away. I mean,
I
they will
agree.
be at home. They will be at home, but like if I was a betting man on sports, I would definitely be taking the Rams +2. I mean, especially the way their offense looked last week against the Bills. I mean, I think this is the kind of offense you expected all year out of the Rams. They just could never get healthy until now, later in the season. The last like 5 weeks, they played a lot better. But yeah, I mean, the 49ers are actually decimated with injuries. And I mean, their running backs just keep getting more and more injured as the weeks go on. So, like, I don't know. I don't think I would take the 49ers in this, especially being -2 points. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be a real confident pick with the 49ers. So I'll be going with the Rams this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams too. They're playing so well on offense, like I mentioned just now at the game that surprised me. Puka Nakua, personally, dude, I think he might be one of the best receivers in the league. Even though he's not a fast dude, he runs amazing routes and is always open
Yeah.
when he needs to be. Um, they're finally getting going on offense, like you said, with getting healthy. And I'm surprised. Vegas must know something. I agree with you. I don't know why they're. Granted, it's only 2 points, but it seems like the Rams should be probably 2 point favorites. But
Yeah,
you
that's
never
what I
know.
would have thought when I looked at.
It's why we play the games. But you're totally right. Um, they did play better last week, but Garindo is their third string running back is now also injured and may not play this week. So I'm going to go with the Rams too. Just think they're playing better ball right now. But Santa Clara is a tough place to play, so primetime game we'll find out on Thursday. So I'm going to roll with the Rams as well. Um, Next game we have is first game on Sunday at noon. Barn burner. We got Dallas Cowboys in Carolina against the Panthers. Carolina is a 1 point favorite at home.
Man, I'm gonna kind of lean with the odds here. I think I'm gonna go with Carolina this week, being at home. I mean, they're a totally different team to watch to play right now. I mean, they're actually kind of fun to watch. I mean, the last 3 to 4 weeks, they've been fun. I mean, uh, Adam Thielen kind of looks like the old self when he was out in Minnesota playing, and Bryce Young's played well. I think this is kind of what everybody was hoping for him to play like last year, but now he's kind of got his time time off, and he's fun to watch. So, and the Cowboys, I mean, last night they played with the Bengals, but I mean, they're still. I don't know. The Cowboys are just such a bad franchise right now. At some point, you got to make something happen in the off season and try changing it up because what they have right now just isn't it. So for me, I'm just going to go with the Panthers with an easy pick because I like the Panthers right now.
I'm gonna roll with them too. They were playing pretty good ball. I think Bryce Young has definitely bought himself probably at least another season at the starter with how he's been playing.
Yeah.
Um, they've gotten healthy and they're still very young. Chuba Hubbard's been playing good. He's got that new contract. I agree with you that Adam Thielen has looked like he did on the Minnesota Vikings back in his heyday. Defense is actually stopping. They played well. They played well against the Eagles last week, almost beat the 49ers or the
Yeah.
Chiefs, almost beat the Bucks. So they're definitely playing better ball. The Cowboys have also been playing better football as well, but Cooper Rush did not look very good against the Bengals. He did have a decent game. Their defense has shown better play as of late. And Michael Parsons has been hitting the quarterback like he's been paid to do. But this being at home, and I think Carolina has been playing slightly better as of late, so I'm going to roll with Carolina as well. Next game we have is Kansas City Chiefs in Cleveland against the Browns, also at noon on Sunday. Chiefs are a 6.5 point favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I think this game's just going to tell itself. I feel like Jameis Winston will probably have 3 turnovers and probably 2 of them might be pick sixes because Chiefs offense can't really do a whole lot right now. Like you were talking about earlier, I mean, they're all Chiefs moving to Chiefs. I mean, Chiefs offensive line has just been killing them completely. I mean, Mahomes has no time, and now he's starting to throw passes up that we don't normally see, and usually now he's turned the ball over more. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cleveland just they'll put points up, but defensively, the Chiefs I think are really good. That's why they're the number one defensive team in the league. And I would just follow the defense here, and that's what I'm going to go with the Chiefs this week.
Yeah, I'm going to follow the Chiefs too, and this may come back to bite me, but this seems like kind of a get right game for them a little bit to kind of like trying to fight
Yeah,
a rhythm on offense against an injured Browns defense. I think Miles Garrett's pretty banged up. He may not play this week, so that's a big loss for them. The Browns offense can sling with anybody, so this might be a high scoring game,
yeah,
depending on if the Chiefs defense of this season shows up. But I do think they have a better defense than the Browns, and obviously probably the best quarterback in the league, even though they hasn't played like
mm-hmm.
it this season. So I'm gonna roll with Kansas City as well. Think they roll in this game and a get right. Next game we have is Dolphins in Houston against the Texans at noon on Sunday as well. Houston is a 2.5 point favorite at home. This could be a pretty good game, I think.
Yeah. This would be a really good game, and I kind of like what the Dolphins are doing. I mean, they still got that burden on their back that they can't win cold weather, and I mean they can keep bringing that up. But I mean, this week they'll be in Houston, they'll be in a dome. I think I'm going to take the Dolphins this week. I mean, being the away team and playing against the Texans, which the Texans are so hit or miss this year. Like you never know what team's going to show up from week to week, really, especially the way CJ Stroud's kind of been in that sophomore year slump. And I don't know. I picked the Texans earlier in the year to be my team to beat, and I don't really see it right now. I don't know what it is about them. I mean, offensively, it just doesn't seem like they can get it all together. I mean, it's definitely helped with Nico Collins coming back, but they
Mhm.
just still haven't been that team. And since the Dolphins got Tua back, I mean, that offense has been pretty legit. Other than one game, they kind of struggled against Green Bay, but there's the cold weather right there. I mean,
Yep.
but I don't know. Miami just has so many more targets or weapons to use on offense. I mean, I think for me, I'm just going to go with the Dolphins this week with an upset.
I'm actually going to roll with Houston. Pure gut pick. I think Houston needs the win. I think Houston wants to win more in this game than Miami does. Um, and I'm not going to lie, Mike McDaniel has been making some bonehead calls
Yeah.
for Miami in previous weeks, and I could see him having one in this game that comes back to bite him. I do agree with you. I think the Dolphins are playing better on offense, but Nico's finally got his footing back underneath him after being on IR for a few weeks. CJ Stroud has played better as of late. And personally, Joe Mixon has been one of the better running backs in the league this year, both on paper and fantasy wise as well. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll with Houston at home. Do think they have a much better defense than Miami does. But this could be a shootout game, like a 42 to 36 type game, depending on which defense shows up. But I'm going to roll with Houston. Next game we got is New York Jets in Jacksonville against the Jaguars, also at noon on Sunday. New York is a 3-point favorite on the road.
I mean, I feel like this game really shouldn't even be a game if you're looking at the papers. I
Yeah,
mean,
battle
the
of 3
Jet,
and 10 teams.
yeah, I mean, but if you had to look at the numbers and like the guys you actually have in the team, there's no reason the Jets shouldn't win this game by 2 touchdowns. But I mean, for some reason, they literally just cannot figure it out. We talked about it before. It comes down to QB play. So, I mean, at what point do you move away from Aaron Rodgers? I mean, at this point in the season, I probably wouldn't, but I don't know if I come out stumbling offensively. I think I would be making a QB change because you have way too many weapons on that offense to not be scoring points. And it seems like week in, week out, it's just another excuse on why they aren't doing good. And I don't know. At some point, you got to move on from the guy that you thought he was maybe 5 years ago and
Mhm.
move on to somebody younger. But I mean, the Jags, they really don't have much going for them either, other than the Tanks Bigsby and Travis Etienne at running back. And I don't know. I just wouldn't go with the Jags this week. I just wouldn't be real confident with a pick there. So I'll just be going with the Jets as the way team.
Yeah, I'm actually going to roll Jacksonville. I mean, both these teams are out of playoff contention.
Yeah.
Um, the Jets have looked a little bit better on offense as of late. They almost beat the Seahawks, but they just don't show any continuity. It seems like only one receiver has a good game. Brees Hall's been injured. Their defense has actually given up quite a bit of points recently, and that was the kind of the backbone of their team. Just not really working out there. But Jacksonville actually looked decent last week against a pretty good Titans defense, and they ended up winning the game on the road. So the Raiders are happy about that because they have the number one pick now. But anyway, I'm going to roll Jacksonville. I think they have a few more weapons that are playing better right now on offense. Brian Thomas has looked really good as of late. They finally got Bigsby and Etienne back fully healthy. Um, this game doesn't really have a whole lot of meaning to it, but I'm just going to roll Jacksonville at home. Probably a bad pick, but picking between two bad teams is hard telling.
Yeah. It's got a toss up.
3 and 10 teams. That'll be a fun one to watch. Not really. So next game we have is Washington in New Orleans against the Saints. Sunday at noon. Washington is a 7.5 point favorite.
I'm gonna just roll Washington right away. I mean, Saints. I mean, they're one of the teams like they're pretty much out of it as well as a for the playoff push, and the Commanders kind of a lot riding on this game. They need this game for the wild card push because I would say at this point they're pretty much almost out of it for the divisional champions. I mean, they could still happen. I mean, but I would say they're playing for their wild card spot. Um, Jaden Dan the last week, I mean, last week they had a bye, but the week before that they looked great against Tennessee. I mean, everything was fluent. Offensively, they looked great, and defensively, they played pretty sound defense. So, I mean, I think it'd be a pretty easy pick here at the Saint or with the Commanders this week because the Saints just don't have much going for them, especially with Derek Carr maybe not even playing this week.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I think it's an easy pick too. No spoiler, but I think Commanders are my survivor pick for this week as well. I'm going with
Yeah.
Washington. Much better offense and actually a fully healthy offense. And they're also, I think, going to get Marshawn Lattimore finally involved on defense now that he's completely healthy. Just a much better team, and they actually have something to fight for with the potential wild card berth in the playoffs. So I'm going to roll with Washington, even though they're on the road. I definitely agree with you. I think the Derek Carr injury kind of puts a nail in the coffin of New Orleans' season.
Yeah.
Don't have a whole lot to play for now, especially under an interim coach. So I'm going to roll with Washington as well. Next game we have is Ravens in New York against the Giants at noon on Sunday. Baltimore is a 14.5 point favorite on the road.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the numbers are not going to lie here. I mean, there's no reason that Baltimore shouldn't come out and just steamroll the Giants. But I mean, the Giants might put up a little fight because they haven't won a game there in what almost a year and a half. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they have absolutely just struggled, and the Ravens just kind of come out. And sometimes I feel like they play to what their competition is. I feel like we've talked about that before. Just the Ravens have a big game against a big team, they'll play really well, and then they come out against a team like the Giants and they might lay flat. I doubt I see that this week, though, especially with them coming off a bye. They're going to want to make a statement because they're probably going to be I mean, looking at the record, they're probably going to be a wild card team unless Pittsburgh really falls off in the next 3 weeks. So, I mean, I'm just going to roll with the Ravens. I mean, there ain't much to say about the Giants other than our boy Drew Lock from Mizzou's going to get him a couple attempts at quarterback.
Mm-hmm. I do think the Giants have a little bit to look forward to in the future. Obviously, been Lake Neighbors is a really good receiver.
Yeah.
Tyrone Tracy, their running back, has looked actually very good this season. So they have a lot to build on into the future, especially with having a high pick that they're going to have. But the Ravens, I'm going with them. They've actually kind of struggled in the past month compared to their standards with a
Mm-hmm.
few dropped games. Haven't been playing well. But I agree. I think they take the bye week this past week in week 14 and to kind of get it right and play better up to more of their standards that they were picked to play up to this season. So I'm going to go with Baltimore. Think this is kind of a get right, get back on track game for them. I mean, they're a stacked team for being 8-5, so
Absolutely.
I'm gonna roll with Baltimore. Next game we have is our last noon kickoff. We have Cincinnati in Tennessee against the Titans. Cincinnati is a 5.5 point favorite on the road.
Yeah, I think this game might be an absolute steamroll of a game. I think Cincinnati's going to come in just, I mean, dude, their offense can be absolutely scary when they're right. And it's kind of unreal that they're 5-8 right now. I mean, I started at the beginning of the year. I had them probably winning the division, honestly. And I mean, they started too late. Again, it's like the third year in a row. They start like 1-4, 1-5, 2-5, whatever they were. But I mean, Cincinnati, their team is they're pretty much loaded on offense. I mean, Chase Brown has absolutely stepped up this year in the running back position, and he's been awesome. I mean, Joe Burrow's been out of his mind, and so is Jamar Chase. And I mean, I think if I was going to bet on this game as well, I'd be taking this 5.5 points easily and feeling very confident against that with Tennessee because Tennessee just you never honestly it's one of those teams you never know what you're going to show up with. Will Levis
Mm-hmm.
might go 16 for 16 with 4 touchdowns, or he could be 5 for 20. You just never know what you're going to get out of him. But I don't know. I think if I'm Cincinnati, I'm going to push because if you win out your next couple games, you pop it in as a 7th seed in the playoffs. Possibly.
Possibly.
Probably not a good chance. It ain't a good chance, but there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll Cincinnati. They kind of got a break against the Cowboys on Monday night with that fumbled punt that allowed them to take the go-ahead touchdown
Mm-hmm.
and win that game. Finally got a break this season, and the season it seems like they
Yeah,
have none of them. Um, I do think they still have a slim chance at the playoffs. They obviously need to win
I
out
do
and
too.
have need some teams ahead of them uh, to falter, but they still got some to play for. I do like their coach Zach Taylor,
I do
and
too.
I agree with you. Their weapons on offense are still crazy. Joe Burrow's having a stellar season, even though they're only 5-8, and Jamar Chase is one of the better receivers in the league, if not the best. You could argue.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm gonna roll with Cincinnati too. I agree with you on the Titans side. They have been playing up and down as of late and pretty much all season. Don't have a lot to play for. So I'm going to roll Cincinnati as well. Um, Still think they need to get more healthy on defense, even though they've been banged up as of late. But Tennessee can put some points on the board. They got some players too. I mean, Tony Pollard,
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Ridley, they're good, but it kind of depends what Will Levis player shows up on any given Sunday. So I'm going to roll Cincinnati as well. Our first afternoon game we have here is New England in Arizona against the Cardinals at 325. Arizona is a 6.5 point favorite.
I don't know why, but I feel like I'm just gonna make a bold pick here. I think we'll go with the Patriots this week. I mean, Arizona's been Murray's been doing his thing. I know in the last like 2 weeks they've kind of been a little shakier, and it kind of makes me want to go with the Patriots, but it also makes me a little nervous because I feel like it was gonna make it right this week because, like you said, in the in their division, that's a three heads. I mean, it's actually all four teams are in tension right now, so. I mean, it's a big game for the Cardinals because they need it for divisional rights. And I mean, any game right now in the last 3 weeks is going to mean a lot. So I don't know why I feel like Drake May and the Patriots have actually made it look somewhat decent for what he's working with right now with absolutely like no targets. So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like Drake May's been making it right by himself pretty much as of late. And I'm just going to roll with the Patriots.
I'm actually going to roll with Arizona strictly because I feel like they have a little bit more to play for here with still being in the hunt for their
Yeah.
division. Um, Now they do need some help. They've lost a lot of divisional games this season. That being said, I think they have a much better offense, at least as weapons wise. Trey McBride's one of the better tight ends in the league. Um, they've gotten Marvin Harrison the ball, probably not as much as they should, but he's getting involved. James Conner is still that workhorse back. Um, their defense is still pretty subpar though, so Drake May could have a big game in this game, but the Cardinals just have more weapons, so I'm going to roll with them.
Yeah.
Strictly think because they have more to play for at this point in the season. So Arizona at home is who I'm going with. Next game we have is Indianapolis Colts in Denver against the Broncos, also at 325. Denver's a 4.5 point favorite at home.
I'm gonna go with the Broncos this week. I mean, I've just honestly really liked what Bo Nix has done as of late. I mean, the way he's looked at quarterback, I mean, I know he's an older rookie quarterback now, but he's just been doing his thing. And I mean, Cortland Sutton's kind of been coming back as a guy that we used to see him like 2, 3 years ago when he had um different guys throwing the ball. I can't remember who was their quarterback like 3 years ago.
Colts,
It was
Carson
no,
Wentz,
no, on
Denver.
the Denver. It
It was
wasn't.
Drew Lock, and then
Yeah,
the year before that it was
was it
I can't remember.
Keenum?
It might have been Keenum. I
It
can't
might have been
remember
Key. That was, I feel like that was when
because it
Cortland
was
Sutton really came out a little
last year.
bit.
It was Drew Lock.
No, it was
No,
Wilson. Yeah,
it was
Wilson
Wilson.
Lock.
Wilson, and then Locke the year before that, and then I can't remember who it was the year before. Anyway, they
They just
weren't
kind of had a
good.
carousel kind of.
No, that was the one that they
No.
had they were starting a receiver at quarterback there for like the last 3 or 4 weeks of the
Oh
season because
yeah,
they were
Tim.
so
It
injured.
was Tim Anderson. Was it not Tim
Yes.
Anderson? The hell was his name? Was it him?
No, I don't remember who it
Yeah, they were
was.
just
But yeah, I don't remember who that
Tim
was.
Patrick. I don't remember who. Yeah, I don't know. Just Denver actually kind of has a quarterback now and somebody that Sean Payton actually likes. So I don't know. Denver just seems like the team to go with this week. I mean, I'm just not a big Anthony Richardson guy, but of course he might come out and absolutely just play his ass off and have 5 touch week. You never know about the Colts. They're just
Mhm.
so hit and miss as well for me. I just never who to go with. And the Broncos have just been kind of consistent this year. And I'm just going to roll with them because they're another team that's pushing for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll Denver too, strictly for the fact that the Colts are actually right on their tails in the wild card rankings. Broncos
Yeah.
have the last spot in the concept, and the Colts are the first out. Colts have been playing better though. Anthony Richardson has gotten better ever since the game he got benched after leaving the field on his own
Yep.
power, just quitting. They do have some good weapons. Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Jonathan has always been dependable. But the Broncos have been playing much better this season, and I think they put their foot down in this game, especially at home, and kind of try to solidify that last wild card spot and maybe even further catapult themselves up in the rankings. So I'm going to go with Denver as well. Next game we have is a good one. We got Bills in Detroit against the Lions. Detroit is a 2.5 point favorite at home.
Yeah. I mean, I would say this is probably our game of the week, baby. I mean, you got
Yep.
two teams pushing. I mean, Lions are looking for that one seed in the NFC, and the Bills are still kind of pushing for that one seed with the AFC. Um, I just think the Bills are going to come out and win this game. Honestly, I mean, you just took a tough loss last week that they probably I wasn't really expecting them to lose that game, and then I don't think they're going to come out back to back weeks and lose. I mean, offensively they looked great last week. They just couldn't get the stops that they really needed defensively. And I think that the Bills are going to come out this week, and this would be a huge, huge statement for them if they could win this against the Lions because I mean, again, the Lions are just, I mean, they are an absolute animal to attack offensively, and then defensively, they're unreal as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think this could be a great game, really.
Yeah, I think it's for sure the game of the week, but I'm going to go with Detroit. They're damn near impossible to beat at home.
They really
Um,
are.
the Bills are a really good team, even though they took a tough loss against the Rams last week. But this is going to be a close game, as I think the line dictates here. I just think the Lions have more weapons on offense, even though they're very injured. So this Lions team could be
Yeah.
even better. But Gibbs and Montgomery, I mean, they have three receivers that are good: Tim Patrick, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson
And
Williams. I mean,
Jameson.
so good, especially at home. Their defense has kept their head above water. Um, I could definitely see the Bills pulling this out. They're very good and a very good defense as well. So I'm just going to roll Detroit at home because they're hard to beat there at Ford Field in Detroit. So I'm going to
Yeah.
roll one pride Lions. Next game we got is Bucks in LA against the Chargers. Also at 325. The Chargers are 3-point favorites at home.
I think that I'm going to go with the uh not favorite. I'm not going to go with the favorite team again this week. I just feel like the Bucks are going to come out and do their thing. I mean, I'm a big Baker guy. I mean, he's hard not to root for the way he kind of bounced around from team to team there for a bit. And I don't know. I mean, the Chargers played their asses off last week against the Chiefs, and there was so much pull for me wanting them to win that game last week. Again, pretty much any team that plays the Chiefs, I would love to see the other team win, don't matter who it is. Um, the Chargers are a great team, though. I mean, Jim Harbaugh really has them going in the right direction. And I mean, Justin Herbert's played well, especially when they didn't even have Ladonke. They still kind of made it work this last week because, I mean, let's just be honest. Quentin Johnson and Josh Palmer, that is not the two guys that you want to say they're your two head wide receivers at the time. And they
Yep.
still almost made it work. And they also didn't even have J.K. last week. So, I mean, offensively, they're kind of struggling right now, but they're still kind of making it work, which is kind of impressive. But
Yep.
I don't know. I just think Baker and Cade Otton and Mike Evans on that offensive side. I mean, the Bucks are going to be tough to handle because they can put points up quick.
Yep. I'm actually gonna roll with the Chargers. Both these teams are actually in the playoffs and playing for a better
Yeah.
seed. So I mean, Bucks are actually in the lead for the division. Chargers are obviously behind the Chiefs. But both are playing good football. I think it's gonna be a really good game. I'm just gonna roll with LA just strictly because they're at home, even though I know that's never really a home game at SoFi Stadium.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna roll with the Chargers. They put up a fight. They're gonna be healthy this week, I think, finally again. Getting a bunch of their players back. I'm gonna roll with LA. Could be a good game, but I'm gonna roll with Jim Harbaugh and his Chargers. So we'll see what happens there. All right, our last game on the afternoon slate is Steelers at Eagles. 325. Philly is a 4-point favorite at home.
I mean, this is going to be a tough game to win for the Steelers if they want to come in and win this. I mean, Steelers are going to have to do their normal thing. I mean, their defense, TJ Watt, and the defensive side of the ball, I mean, they're going to have to play their asses off and stop Saquon Barkley and make Jalen Hurts throw the ball to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do think if they can get the behind the sticks and not allow Barkley to do his thing like he has been the last pretty much all season, I think the Steelers have a real shot at this. But I mean, the Eagles' offense, I mean, they're loaded defensively. They're playing really well, and kind of their record resembles why they're so good and why they've been a playoff contender every year the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna go with the Steelers this week. I've been kind of liking what Russell Wilson has done with all of his with the weapons. I mean, Najee Harris has kind of came back from the dead. I mean, last year he was pretty much
Mm-hmm.
dead in the waters as a running back. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the Steelers have a little bit of a jive going to them, but so do the Eagles. It's not going to be easy to win in Philly because it's not an easy place to win in, especially as this afternoon game. There's probably going to be a ton of people there. But I'm just going to go with the Steelers this week.
I'm actually going to roll with the Eagles. And before we started this show, I was going to pick the Steelers, but George Pickens, I don't think he's going to play in this game, and that's massive impact for the Steelers. I do think the
That will
Steelers have a
hurt.
better defense. I think they have a defense that can stop Barkley somewhat and make Jalen Hurts throw the ball. Um, but I don't think they're going to be able to score with Philadelphia either. If Saquon does break out some few touchdowns and Hurts
And
maybe
it's probably
runs
going to
for one
happen.
in or finally finds AJ Brown or some of his receivers downfield. So I'm going to roll with the Eagles. I think that Pickens injury really hurts Pittsburgh a lot more than people are putting up to it. So I'm going to roll with the Eagles at home and see what happens. But that's going to be a good game as well. All right, our Sunday night game is Green Bay in Seattle against the Seahawks. Green Bay is a 2.5-point favorite on the road.
Man, I don't know what it is this week, but I'm going to go with the Packers right away in Seattle. I mean, this is going to be a Sunday night game. This place will probably be absolutely packed out, probably be sold out. I don't know. The Packers have just been playing so well. And I mean, they're a team that could be leading almost every division in the league right now, except they're just in an absolutely stacked division.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this team's just good. I like Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs. Sorry for the Raiders fans, but he's been being crazy as of late.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, they're three wide receivers: Romeo Dowds, uh, Christian Watson, and then they have that other guy too. I
Jaden
can't think of
Reed.
his name right now. Jaden Reed. I mean, them three guys are absolute studs together. I mean, none of them are huge names, but they all kind of complement each other really well. Um, Seattle's great. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba has absolutely kind of taken off as of late. Kind of the guy we thought he'd be right away last year, but now he's kind of getting his feet under him. And I don't know, Seattle's got a really good team, and offensively they're playing well. Uh, as well. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna roll with the Packers this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Green Bay too. I think they're playing a little better football, and they played good against better opponents than I think Seattle has. But I agree with you. I think Seattle has played a lot better as of late. JSN has been getting his feet under him here in his second year in the league. Um, but historically these games are always good, and there's been a lot of playoff games between the Packers and Seattle Seahawks dating back to the Russell Wilson Rodgers days. So this will be a fun game to watch. But I'm gonna roll with Green Bay. They need to keep their foot on the gas to maintain a higher seed in the NFC. So I'm going to roll with Green Bay here on the road. All right, we got two Monday night games. First one is Bears at Vikings. Minnesota is a 7-point favorite.
I mean, this. I think this won't even really be a game, especially the way Minnesota just looked last week. I mean, offensively they kind of stuttered for a couple weeks. I mean, they were winning games, they just weren't really doing their thing. And then last week, I mean, that two-headed monster, a wide receiver. I mean, they just absolutely went off. I mean, Jordan has absolutely came out and played extremely well this year, and it's really showed up as of late. I mean, that I think was it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, Justin Jefferson had like two catches, and then
Mm-hmm.
Addison and TJ Hawkinson just absolutely went berserk. But
Yep.
then this week, I mean, Jefferson and Addison almost both had 40 points fantasy wise. I mean, the Vikings offense is kind of unreal. And I mean, even with gosh dang, I can't think of his name right now. Running back,
Aaron Jones.
yeah, Aaron Jones. I mean, he's been turning the ball over, but he's even kind of been for a early 30-year-old running back, early late 20s. I mean, he's been running the ball really well, and the
Mm-hmm.
Vikings defense has been pretty solid as well. And I mean, I think the Vikings are another team we just talked about. They're in the wrong division because they would be leading a lot of divisions.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears just don't have a lot going for them.
Yep. Very stacked division. I agree. I'm going to go with Minnesota as well. That offense is just playing on all cylinders right now, especially since they got Hawkinson back. Defense is actually number one in the league as far as stats are
Yeah.
concerned. So I'm going to roll with Minnesota. I agree. The Bears just fired their coach a few weeks back on Thanksgiving Day, or Black Friday. They fired him the day after the game, but they got some players, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome how many points Minnesota's going to
No.
score. So I'm going to roll with Minnesota. All righty, our last game is Atlanta in Vegas against the Raiders. 7:30 on Monday. The Falcons are 4.5-point favorites on the road. So what do you think about this one?
Man, I mean, I'm thinking the Falcons are going to come out and win this game, but they should at least. I mean, their offense has kind of been hit or miss. Kirk Cousins is really struggling, hasn't really done much as of late. But I mean, looking at paper wise, I mean, as long as you'd hand the ball off to Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, they'll probably be all right in this game because the Raiders just don't have much going for them
Mm-hmm.
offensively. Pretty solid defense, but when you can't score any points and you're out on the field a lot, you worked over fast, and that's kind of what's been the year for us, I think. So I'll be going with the Falcons.
All right. So everybody knows how bad the Raiders have been. I mean, we're horrible. We're got the number one pick locked up. Falcons have also not been playing very good. They've had a 2 or 3 game losing streak here. Kirk Cousins has been throwing the ball to the other team more than his own team. The only really bright spot they have right now is Bijan playing better like he was his rookie season. I don't have much analysis in this game, but Aiden O'Connell got hurt. He's probably done for the season. So we got Desmond Ritter. I'm picking the Raiders in a revenge game for Desmond Ritter against his former team. That's all I got. Horrible pick,
I
but
like that.
let's just win, baby. All right, let's roll into our horrible Survivor Week picks that seem to always be bad. Um, we started off hot, but haven't been as hot as of late. So I
Yeah,
kind
I've
of
been
spoiled mine
struggling.
earlier. I'm going to roll with the Commanders. I think they play very well here on the road, even though they're on the road against the Saints. But the Saints are decimated, and Derek Carr is out with injury, so I'm going to go with Washington.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the. We just talked. I'm gonna go with the Falcons against the Raiders.
Really,
I don't. Yeah,
really.
I just really feel like week to like kind of show back up because if they want to win the division, they need to win this week. And this is like almost a must win, especially against the Raiders because they don't have a lot to beat them.
Max Crosby's going to have 5 sacks. Come on.
There's a good chance of they still might lose because they don't have any offense.
Yeah. Yeah. Desmond revenge game. That's what we're going for. But anyway, that wraps up our Week 15 show here, Deep Threat Sports Network, Week 15 NFL show. Thanks, Logan, for hopping on with me. It's been fun to talk about these week's
Yep.
games. It's been fun to do it all year. So we got to only have a few more weeks in the season. Then we'll be talking postseason. So everybody be stay tuned. Follow us on all of our socials. Deep Threat Sports Network here is on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, basically anywhere you can find us. So please follow us on all our shows. And until next time, we'll see you on the next show.